and welcome back to the second episode of the Clap Podcast this week. This will be our Oscars prediction.
Yay!
I'm here, as always, with Toby Yeomans. How are you, Toby?
Sir, I'm good. I'm well. How are you, Frosty?
I'm very good. And we have our special guest joining us for the second episode this week.
Returning.
Thomas Kokkinos.
Timothy Chalamet. Oh
no, not again.
no.
This time it's just
Great to have
TK.
me back.
Yes.
I'm excited.
Just before we start, I think it is worth noting that Dune Part 2 is actually delayed. It would have been included in this year's Oscars if it had come out when it originally came out. So Oppenheimer would have had Dune Part 2 in contention with it.
Well,
That's an interesting thing to think about.
We can talk about that when we're going through the things that we think Oppenheimer's going to win, because let's be honest, we're going to be talking about Oppenheimer winning a lot of things, and I'll be asking you the entire time, would Dune have beat it?
Yes. No, they're fair
consider.
things to say. Let us just introduce sort of what this episode's about. So we're going to be talking about the Oscars, giving you our predictions. We're going to sort of note all our predictions down, and whoever has the most wins on the night will give sort of a challenge, which in this case will be something to watch to the other two members on the pod this week. So for kind of a brief summary on what the Oscars is, obviously the 2024 Oscars is the 96th Academy Awards. For those of you who want to know, it is occurring on the 10th of March in the US. For us Aussies, it will be on the 11th of March at 11 a.m. AEDT. So it's broadcasting on Channel 7 and 7+, so it is available to watch for free. But it is, unfortunately, on a Monday morning, where it's in the US on a Sunday night.
I will be at uni.
Yeah, I am actually in class as well, but I'll be trying my best to watch it. If not, I'll catch up on it afterwards.
Really?
Doesn't recognise it.
I get a public holiday.
No, I don't get one either.
Started a week later and you get a public holiday.
Yes.
Wow. So the Oscars celebrates the best and most influential filmmaking of the films released in 2023. And regardless of the winners, even being nominated is such a huge success. It's something absolutely of note. So all of these films and people involved in the films being nominated is a huge win in and of itself. But we hope a lot of our favourite films get a lot of awards on the day, because it's obviously a big thing. A lot of people will go and support it more. So it's really good. And the whole awards season has been really leading towards this event on Monday for us.
Yeah, every award season leads to the Oscars.
Yeah, it does. It does. It's yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Why don't we dig into what we're going to say that the others have to watch as the challenge. So the way it's going to work is that we'll go through our picks for what we think is going to win the Oscar for each category, or as much of the categories that we can give a take on. I don't think anyone here has watched any of the documentaries. Not to say they're not deserving of Oscars, it's just we're not huge fans of documentaries as much as we are film. So yeah, we'll go through whoever gets the most right. Basically what they're telling the others to watch, they will have to watch.
Yeah. We're not going to go through every category because we haven't had the chance to see everything. A lot of the shorts, things like that. But all the main categories, Toby and I especially have had the chance to see a decent number of them. TK, I know you've made a bit of an effort to see a few as well.
Yeah. A few of them, yeah.
So
some I have.
But you've still been involved in sort of all the news and information going around, so you can probably give
he listens to our
some
podcast,
decent predictions.
Sure.
Yeah. For those of you who have been listening to our podcast, you sort of know who some of the main winners have been, so it might help with some of the predictions. But we're going to kick things off with the best hair and makeup.
Why don't we kick things off by saying what we're going to make the other
Of
people
course,
watch?
no, my apologies.
You go
Apologies.
first.
So I will be getting the two of them to watch a film called Goodbye Dragonin. Now, it's actually really well-respected art house film. Really beautiful, but it is slow.
Never heard of it.
It is slow, and I'm testing the...
Slow, it's an hour 20.
Anyway.
I just looked up the runtime, it's an hour 20.
Wow.
My bad. Anyway, maybe I'm thinking of the wrong one. But anyway, I've heard Goodbye Dragonin. I have seen it. Yeah, I'll just be... I'm more curious to hear your thoughts, and I know it's a film that you wouldn't normally watch.
Yeah.
So that's mainly why I'm giving it to you guys. Yeah, well-respected art house piece. But yeah, kind of testing your ability to watch something that isn't necessarily English and is a little bit different.
That's so ironic that you say that when you know for a fact I'm going to make you watch an anime.
Yeah, that's so true.
As if
so
we
true.
don't watch stuff that's...
No. It's not. That's not what I mean. But it is different to what you typically watch.
Yeah, no, I suppose. Should I give mine now?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, okay. I feel a little bit stiff going from an hour 20 film to a full series plus a movie, which is what I'm going to make.
Yeah,
you
thanks
guys
for
watch.
that.
But you have to, because the movie is the best movie of all
It's
time.
not going to win, so.
Well, you don't know that. I think I might. It's the Neon Genesis Evangelion series. That's 26 episodes, I believe. You only have to watch 24 of them. You can skip the last two if you really want to.
Which one is it?
It's called Neo Genesis Evangelion. And then the movie that you'll be watching,
Great.
the movie you'll be watching is called the end of Evangelion.
Hang on, I got to give you
It's not
more
on
then.
Netflix?
This is not fair.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah.
This
It's
is not
20 minutes
fair.
a piece for the episodes.
Yeah, mine's an hour and 20
and
film.
It's a blur to watch.
Oh, well.
You will love it.
You'll love
You
it.
can give me another movie. Give me 2 movies. I don't mind.
I know, I just got to win this competition,
Yeah.
that's all.
Yeah, I don't think you understand. I'm gonna make you watch this film at some point or another because you
Yeah,
know I'm
right.
gonna talk about it on this
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
So
Okay, fair.
like it's a good thing, and I feel like TK will enjoy it. He loves himself some anime.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Well, no. What's
There you
TK?
go.
Oh
then?
well.
Oh, TK,
have
what
I
are you
got a
challenging
movie
us?
for you?
Oh,
Oh,
go
don't
for
get
it.
I know.
Transformers.
No. I wouldn't. Yeah. No.
Something Monthly.
I know Toby's seen it, but Will has not yet.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
and I
What
asked
is
him
it?
to see it.
What is it?
The Simpsons movie.
Oh.
That's a banger.
That's true.
That's
So,
good.
can I tell people why this is so notable to you?
Yeah. Go on.
This is one of the films, one of the only films that makes.
Ah, okay. Right.
This is one
One of the films.
very notable film that makes TK cry.
It's sad.
It is sad.
I'm sure it
You
is.
have not
sad.
seen it.
I'm
You
sure it
can't
is,
judge.
but we've watched Interstellar together.
Okay, and yes, but
But it's not The Simpsons.
it's not the Simpsons movie.
Apparently, okay. All right.
There is emotion in that.
It
movie.
is a.
To be fair, I want to watch that more than whatever you just.
That is
Well, there
such,
you go.
such a bad take.
You're gonna have to watch it anyway. So
Okay, all right.
That's the thing. I feel like any of these we're talking about, we're all going to watch them anyway. So
Yeah,
it's kind
we
of
will.
but I think it's meant to be like a punishment. I feel like mine's the most punishment because you have to like rule through like
I don't
4
know if
hours.
It's good,
of-
but anyway.
Right.
It's good.
No, to be honest, I am right that Goodbye Dragon Inn, for an hour and 20 film, it'll test your patience.
Oh, that's great.
So I am testing because I want to see if two 20-year-olds can cope through this film.
In the TikTok era.
The TikTok era. No,
Did you not
I don't
see
mean it
the
like that, but I mean
reviews
it is a different structure and type of film than what we typically watch. It doesn't follow necessarily like a central narrative. It sort of jumps to different spots. So I'm just curious to sort of hear your thoughts on it.
All right. Well, let's dive into the Oscars then. Let's take
Yeah.
our picks.
Best hair and makeup is where we're starting.
Yes.
So I'll go through some of the films that are nominated. So we have Golda, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and Society of the Snow. So Toby, hair and makeup. What are your thoughts?
I'm thinking this one goes to Poor Things. I think we're going to obviously go into production design and costume design as well, but the looks for Poor Things was brilliant. I just thought they all looked fantastic, very eccentric, very quirky, and very much matched the theming of the film. And that's why I think it's just going in that direction. I think, the makeup in particular was very stand out. I think it's also very hard to talk about. I don't know that much about hair and makeup.
No, we're not experts in
Yeah,
this
yeah.
film.
So, like,
but
when
yeah,
I'm saying, like,
absolutely.
it looks
But I
good.
think the narrative has a lot to say with Poor Things. I mean, it was nominated for a lot in terms
Yeah.
of production and hair and makeup and things like
It's
that.
very stylist.
Yes, that's it.
yeah. I would disagree though. I do think this one is the one Oscar that I think Maestro could go towards. Especially given Kazuhiro is making a lot of headlines with his incredible work in multiple films, but Maestro especially. Especially given how much they have to do with going through different ages.
Yeah.
With Leonard Bernstein's character and, of course, Carey Mulligan in her role as well. I think Maestro could definitely have this one. When I saw it, I was absolutely amazed at how well they were able to transform Bradley Cooper. Obviously, his performance was great as well, but what they especially did with him in terms of the hair and makeup to make him look like Leonard Bernstein was incredible. He really does look like the person, and it's one of those things where they show the real person at the end, and you think, wow, these are two of the same.
Yeah.
And so I absolutely think it could go to Maestro, but I think you're right that it is a race between Maestro and Poor Things. I don't think, whilst the other ones have incredible hair and makeup, especially Society of the Snow, which is really phenomenal hair and makeup in that one as well. What they have to do to the people, to the main cast is phenomenal. But I do think it is a race between Maestro and Poor Things. But my money's on Maestro. TK?
I'll have to agree with Toby here and go with Poor Things, I think.
Right.
I haven't seen Maestro, so I
Okay.
can't comment on the hair and makeup of that movie.
Sure.
So, yeah, I think I'll have to go with Poor Things.
Poor Things, yeah.
He just likes to agree with me.
Yeah.
Toby's always right.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, let's hope not, because I don't want to watch whatever
That's
TV show you're going to make me watch.
terrible.
You want to watch The
take.
Simpsons?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll kind of move on to best costume design.
Yep.
So the nominees for this category are Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things.
Yes.
Toby, why don't you kick us off? Best costume design. This is a real race, this one.
Yeah. I think you were making a good point off the mic before. You were talking about how between costume design and production design, they're going to go between Barbie and Poor Things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm under the impression that the costume design will go to Poor Things over Barbie.
Okay.
And the reason that I feel like the costume design for Poor Things was very eccentric and stylized for the film. I know Barbie obviously had a huge budget for its costume, I presume, and also like the costumes were very significant. They looked fantastic. I just felt personally that Poor Things was like just so perfectly connected to the story of the costume designs. The other reason I say that is because I think production design is absolutely going to Barbie, and that's just because the set was so fantastical for Barbie that I think it has to go in that direction. As I said, there was a shortage of pink paint after the film's production, just because they'd done so much work.
It's a great narrative. It's a great narrative for that. Those kind of headlines really take the eye of the Oscar voters, and I think that could absolutely play a factor in that. Whilst I disagree, I totally see that, and I think it's a very close race. I don't remember quite a time where you had a race between sort of these categories quite this close, because it's been a major year for sort of the visual elements of films in this way. Because my money on best costume design is going to Barbie. I think the narrative surrounding it, the way that they do really well at contrasting the real world from Barbie Land, especially given the fact that the dolls, that's what they're for. It was all about the fashion. And I think Jacqueline Duran, who is the costume designer for Barbie, absolutely captures that, especially for the Kens as well. I think she does a phenomenal job with Ryan Gosling's character and all the other Kens and Barbies as a whole. And I just love the I'm Just Ken jumper at the end. I think that's really cool. And I'm not saying it deserves an Oscar for that, but I just love it.
Yeah.
You got yourself one, didn't you?
I do. Toby lovingly bought me one for Christmas.
Knuff.
I am Knuff. Thank you for saying that. So I just thought the costume design in Barbie was great, and I've watched it multiple times, and I think every time you see another little detail about the costumes. But I totally agree with you. It could go either way. TK?
I'm leaning towards Barbie as well, I think, just because purely, as you said, it's sort of, I mean, it's a big part of the movie, the costumes in which the Barbies wear. They replicate them so well, and they did the press run and everything. It just all revolves around sort of the outfits themselves. And they even do that scene where they throw up the outfits and it sort of freeze frames on.
Yeah, it does. That's a really good scene.
Yeah, that whole sort of setup, I think, pushes the edge for me. I'm not to discredit Poor Things. I think Poor Things' costumes were quite interesting and amazing. It's a very stylistic movie, but yeah, I would lean towards Barbie.
Yeah, I love that. So it's us against you on that one.
Yeah, no, I'm the outlier on that one. That's okay. TK's jumping between us two, I think.
Jumping. He might get it right, you know.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
We get
never
best
wrong.
of both.
Yeah.
We'll move on to best production design. So for that one, we have Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. So I think we've kind of said a lot here. It's a real race between Barbie and Poor Things. This is the one that I think it could go to Poor Things.
Yeah.
That's not kind of the verdict out in Hollywood at the moment. I know that Vanity Fair predicted Barbie for that one, but I do think this is the one for Poor Things. But it could be interesting, because it'd be interesting Barbie get both or Poor Things get Barbie.
Yeah, that could
absolutely happen. It's a real.
Barbie.
That's what I mean. These categories.
Double Barbie.
I'm going double Barbie.
You're going double Barbie. Okay. Yeah. So you think Barbie for costume and production design. Yeah. Toby, I'm curious your thoughts.
I said Poor Things.
Oh,
no, I said Barbie for production design.
You did Barbie for production design.
I was talking about how the sets were so magnificent and stuff. I think it'll go to Barbie for this one.
Yeah. So I'm Poor Things, and we have two Barbies.
Yeah. He's swapping between us.
He's swapping between us. I love it.
No worries.
But yeah, so I think that this category will be a very interesting race between the two. Yeah. Both well deserved.
No,
I mean,
I won't be mad either way. I'll be mad if I lose, because I really want to make you guys look. But no, I think I'm happy with either of those two winning for those ones there. But now we're going into a category that I think is maybe a little bit more not as close race between certain films.
I'd say there's two here.
Best sound. The reason I say that is I think Oppenheimer will wipe. I'll go through them all for you. So there's The Creator, there's Maestro, there's Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, and then there's Oppenheimer and The Zone of Interest. I think it's going to Oppenheimer. I know people are saying that it might go to The Zone of Interest.
I think The Zone of Interest.
But I think it's Oppenheimer. For sound design.
Yeah, I think Oppenheimer too. I think some of those sounds they create, especially because they do them all, obviously, a lot of it was practical.
Yeah,
right? Like some of that sound is just amazing. Like,
Yeah.
what was that scene? I'm trying to think of the scene.
There's a lot of the scenes with like the
sort of physics is
yeah,
happening,
the physics,
and
like the
they're
revolving
Yes.
electrons,
Yeah.
like,
And I
That-
love the
those
use
sounds
of
are
the
so
feet,
cool.
the feet thumping as well.
Yeah,
that makes it,
yeah.
there's
really great.
There's
parent.
just some fantastic
There's
stuff.
a lot of creativity with
Oh, definitely,
Oppenheimer
yeah.
as
I think
well.
that
with that.
pushes over the edge.
Push it over, yeah.
So you're both Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Yes,
I would have to disagree. I think it's going to go to the Zone of Interest because that makes it's such an appearance in that film.
Yeah.
A tragic film, but it's basically like it's incredible with what it can do. With showing, with you hear the awful things that is going on with Auschwitz next door, but you never see anything.
Yeah.
But it cuts you so deep. It's horrifying
Yeah.
that you hear the sounds and you see a plume of smoke and you know what's happening, and it's tragic, and it's and this family is going on like nothing's happening. They'd live next door to it. It's their day-to-day life. They don't even notice it, and you hear the screams, and it's so much about the sound that you never see any of it.
Yeah.
But it's
very
all
much
about the sounds, and it's
That's a good point.
incredible. It's the fact that these sounds, you just know what they are,
Telling a story.
and they're telling a story
Yeah,
through sound,
that's a valid
and
point.
it's heartbreaking, and I think that the voters will really appreciate that use of sound, and I think it's the power that sound has, that everything, you're so emotionally connected to the sounds going on in that film. So I think it could go to the Zone of Interest.
Yeah.
But I do think Oppenheimer will be more than deserving. I think all of these on here are obviously great nominees, but I think it's a race between Oppenheimer and the Zone of Interest, and I think Oppenheimer could absolutely deserve it. And every time I watch that film, I notice something else about the sound. It's one of those that it absolutely is a major part. But I think for me, it's the Zone of Interest.
Yeah, and we'll go into best editing next.
Yeah.
So I'll read out the nominees for
Please
this one.
do.
So you got Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Thing.
I think editing's a hard one. Don't you?
Yeah.
Because editing is very much, it's different for every film, and I think it's hard to sort of judge what's the best edit of a film.
I think it's the best edit. That sounds so stupid. That's the best edit for the film.
Yeah,
For the story being told, for what they're trying to convey.
Yeah.
Because it's like sometimes you could have like really good quality editing, but it just doesn't make sense for the story.
The tone and the pace.
And
of the
I
film
think
as
of like
well,
an
pacing.
example of that for me personally, and not to say this was a bad film, but Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Sure.
I thought the editing where they jumped between like these really like tragic scenes about Rocket's past to like comedy scenes and stuff like that. I thought the editing
Sure.
in that sense was probably a bit choppy.
Yep.
It's not bad editing in any sense. Like that would work for a lot of other films.
Yep.
Just didn't work for me for that film.
Totally.
So that's like an example of how it might be good editing, but just not right for the film. And I think that's how I'm judging it
example.
in this sense. And that's why I'm going with Oppenheimer for it. I just think the editing at no points had any issues whatsoever.
Just to clarify, are all three of us Oppenheimer?
Okay.
Yeah. I think for me,
Void.
what's gonna make it Oppenheimer
Yeah.
is the fact that it's 3-hour runtime.
Yeah.
And it flies by.
Yeah.
It
runs
flies by. It's a smooth. I've seen it
It's a good
4
one.
times now, and every time I'm never bored. It perfectly.
Yeah.
It's perfectly paced, and you're jumping between the future, what's
Past,
happening, and
yeah.
the past, and and all these different characters, and everyone feels like they have a moment. And obviously that's a lot to do with direction as well. But it's also the editing of the film that everything is so well paced. I'm never bored. There is this build up, and especially when they're obviously going to perform the Trinity test. The build up in that scene, I mean, the use of different shots they use, how they cut between the people, really builds this sort of. It's just an incredible build up, and I think that it's an Oppenheimer one for that.
I would go a close second with Poor Things. I think Poor Things was
Yeah,
fantastic.
I'd say I would probably go Killers of the Flower Moon. Would be
Okay.
my second bet.
Yeah, I mean, we're both going Oppenheimer, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it is
If it comes
Oppenheimer,
down
but-
to it, well, we'll have to flip a coin or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
Yeah,
don't think they give out second places at the Oscars.
So we're going into best visual effects now. So our nominees for that one is The Creator, Godzilla -1, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1, and Napoleon.
Yep.
So, I mean, some incredible visual effects there. I think, again, it's a race between two.
Yeah.
It's The Creator and Godzilla -1. I think what Godzilla -1 has is the narrative. The fact that it was is it 15?
It was very cheap budget.
Very
for what it
cheap
was.
budget for incredible
Yeah.
visual effects. But I think if we're talking about what looks the best on screen, for me, it's the creator.
Yeah.
And that is my prediction. I think whilst I absolutely think it could go towards Godzilla -1 because that film got so much press, so much popularity and critical acclaim for how it looks and the storyline itself as well. But I also think that the creator had a lot of stories about its visuals. The fact that it didn't use, people with tennis balls on their head or anything like that for the robots. They actually
used
went in
actual
and changed that.
robots.
And the actors didn't even...
Real.
Real robots.
Well, and the actors who played the robots, some of them didn't know they were playing robots. And it's things like that. So
They didn't know they were robots.
No. So did you hear about this?
No.
So to make the movement of the characters feel human, these AI, Gareth Edwards wouldn't tell who was a robot besides the main cast. So the background acts and stuff would act like humans. And they would literally go in. They didn't have a dot on them. They had nothing on them. And completely take that person out and put a robot in, matching their movements.
That's cool. Right.
And that's incredible filmmaking without a person in a suit with dots on them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I absolutely think I've seen multiple videos about the creator filmed on a very small budget as well. Not as small as Godzilla -1, I'm assuming, but quite small. I think it deservedly would go towards the creator, and I'm going to put that as my prediction as well.
I can understand that take. I think the creator was not very much carried by its visuals, but the visuals were the best element of the film for me. Still, I will give it to Godzilla -1.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of reasons. One, I
Yep.
think for the budget, it was so good looking. Like it was a very stunning film.
It's a stunning film.
And the second thing is you're talking about the narrative and exposure for the film.
Yeah.
I think it would be a massive win, first and foremost, for a Japanese monster film to
Sure.
win an Oscar. But a film with such a small budget and telling such a compelling story with monsters, that's another just massive win for if the Oscars are willing to give that type of stuff out. So that's why for this one I will go for Godzilla -1 over the creator. I think it could very much go to the creator, like you've said. There's a lot of reasons that it should, and the creator was very visually stunning.
I think they're both deserving, you're right, and I think it could go either way. But that's fair. So your prediction's Godzilla -1.
Yes, sir.
TK.
I'm also with Godzilla -1.
Okay.
It's back with Toby.
I think there's a lot of memorable scenes that, I mean, that train scene and the explosion and all those,
Yeah.
very sort of visually stunning scenes that I just remember. I mean, they didn't have a big budget, so they did some amazing work with what they had.
Do you think if the press hadn't focused so much on the budget, it would
I still
be in
think it would.
contention as
I
much
still
as it
think
would?
Yes.
Yeah.
You think?
Well,
Maybe not as much.
I think that what you're asking there is how do people get nominated for the Oscars?
Yeah.
No.
More of a
But what I'm saying is, because
question.
obviously I think the main reason that Godzilla -1 has a real chance, I mean, we're looking at Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 had 10 times the budget, I'm sure. Something like
hundreds
that.
of millions.
What I'm saying is if Godzilla -1, if you didn't know anything about what the budget was or anything like that,
Yeah.
do you think it would still have as much of a chance of winning? I mean, I'm not saying whether it would have been nominated. Would it be in the running for a win? That's what I'm saying. Because obviously,
I see what you're saying.
we are in a world where this press and this information is of paramount importance. And, the fact that the Godzilla -1 people have been on YouTube channels with VFX people and stuff like that, they've really been promoting the visual effects elements of it. But take that away, take the idea of the budget away. What do you think?
I still want to say yes, just because I think...
For a win.
Yeah, for a win.
Okay.
I think you're comparing, sci-fi oranges to early 20th century oranges. It's not a fair comparison to say, the creator was a sci-fi flick and therefore the visual effects are really good. It had robots and lasers and pew, pew, pew.
That's not what I'm saying, though.
No, not
Yeah,
saying that. But I'm saying, when you talk about Godzilla in the context of the film that it's in, it looks brilliant for,
Yes.
feudal Japan. Not feudal Japan, sorry. Post-World War II.
Oh, it does. Yeah,
I think in that sense, yes, it's not, bright lights and,
space
and robots and stuff like
Sure,
that.
sure.
But, the Godzilla monster, I thought looked
Sick.
fantastic.
Fantastic. No,
Very
it
good.
did.
Spikes popping
It
out of its
did.
back.
I agree.
Blue.
Here, I'm just
The blue,
Awesome.
and then a lot of the CG scenes where it's planes flying over Godzilla or
water.
yeah.
water or boats around. I just thought all of them, they just looked
Yeah.
really
Oh,
good.
stunning. They did.
And it's it's so hard to compare it when it's telling such a different story. But you do make a case that yes, maybe if there wasn't as much of a push for the film being look at the budget and look how well it's done with this budget, maybe. But still,
I think
for
the
me,
budget just backs it up, though.
yeah,
Yeah.
in
It
my
makes it
position.
stronger.
Can I be honest? That's mine. I just was curious your thoughts. I think it would definitely be, up there as a potential winner, but I do think it would give the creator the definite edge, in my opinion.
No, that's fair.
But I think the because of the press that's sort of come out about it, I think Godzilla -1 absolutely has a major shot.
Yeah.
And possibly is even the winner already.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that the creator would absolutely have the edge if it wasn't for that narrative.
Yeah.
But I think it's a really equal race between the two. I think we talk about it being an Oppenheimer sweep, but these categories really aren't guaranteed yet.
TK, give me your best Godzilla roar.
Oh.
Please. Indulge the Clap
here.
podcast listeners with your...
Yeah. It's very high pitched, isn't it?
Yeah. No, that was good. That was good.
That was great.
That
was great.
That rumbled the ground.
That was great.
That was good.
Fantastic.
I don't know why I
There's
asked
no
that
way
question.
I can make a segue onto the next one
Just
in a
put some
natural
effects.
way.
Just
but
put some effects on that one.
yeah, bit of reverb.
Bit
there.
of reverb, distortion.
Distortion
Yeah.
would go crazy.
No, I'm just leaving it in its raw form.
Raw form.
I think it's
Well,
great.
that was basically like he was here.
Yeah, I felt that.
Yeah, yeah.
with us.
I
was
felt it in
scared.
my soul.
There was a lot of dread.
We're going to move on next to the best cinematography. A really interesting category. We have El Conde, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things.
It's funny you say that's a interesting category.
Oh, it's a joke.
Yeah, I think that's what
Yeah.
we're getting into the Oppenheimer suite.
Oppenheimer.
This is
I don't think it's
Hoyte van Hoytema did. I mean, his use of handheld, the IMAX cameras, the shots that he got, some incredible cinematography in that. It's a beautiful film, absolutely stunning.
Poor Things. I'm not saying it'll beat it, but I'm saying Poor Things had good
It
cinematography.
did,
I
Yeah.
to
did
be
leave
honest,
that
all of
movie.
these did. I mean, there's
Yeah.
one shot in Kills Flower Moon. I'm not sure if it's the opening scene where these people are getting. It's a slow motion shot of these people getting drenched in oil. Stunning shot,
Yeah.
stunning. Honestly, Kills of the Flower Moon is a beautiful looking film.
I like the rooftop scenes of Poor Things where they're on the
Yeah.
way
Yeah,
up on the
they're
roof.
very
Those
Yeah,
are- those
I
are
also like
nice.
the use of the fisheye
Yeah,
lens
yeah.
as well. And I think El Conde as well. I'm pretty sure that one's in black and white. And from what I've seen, it has really stunning visuals as well. They're quite different actually.
unique.
Maestro
Yeah,
has
yeah.
this build up. It goes from black and white all the way to full color as we go through Leonard Bernstein's life. And some really good shots where he just holds it, and you just see the action take place, and it's stunning composition, but it's not a lot of cuts and stuff like that. Honestly, these are all incredible nominees, but I think the narrative has been for Oppenheimer, what Hoyte van Hoytema has done throughout his career, and that has led to Oppenheimer. It's Oppenheimer.
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
It is.
I think we're agreeing on that one there.
All three of us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next one, we're going to Best Original Screenplay. So we've
Oh.
got Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, Maestro, May December, and Past Lives.
Yeah.
Where I'm going to just give my take. I don't feel like there's a whole lot more to say because I haven't seen a lot of the films here. But
Really? Okay.
I think it's going to Anatomy of a Fall. From
Yeah,
my
I'd agree.
understanding,
Yeah.
is the Anatomy of a Fall is the top pick. I think it's the favourite.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
I think so as well. It's done really well at the other awards
that's
shows
what I
as
was
well.
going off.
In my opinion, I need to give a shout out to Past Lives.
Yeah, I know you're.
I saw it twice in the movie theater. I think what Celine Song did with that being a first time director as well. Past Lives is a beautiful film.
Yeah.
Really interesting perspective on relationships and the way those characters feels so real. I think Past Lives would be the one that I want to win, if I'm being honest. Actually, I'd say The Holdovers. Honestly, I love a lot of the films in this.
Jump between.
I'm sorry. I think a lot of these
I
are
wish they
really
could all
well
win.
written films.
Yeah, let them all win.
Let them all win. Yeah.
Everyone gets an award.
Yeah. You win.
Oprah's presenting. You get an award.
Yeah.
You get an Oscar.
You get an award. But I think Past Lives is the underappreciated film of the Oscars. I think it's stunning, but it's unfortunately I don't think it's going to come home with any. But I think The Holdovers is brilliant. But I think in summary, I agree with you. Anatomy of a Fall has this.
Yeah.
TK?
I'm swinging left field.
Oh.
Don't ask me why, but I'm going to go with The Holdovers.
Yeah, okay. To be fair, I
Just
would
to be
I would
different.
want that's the one I'd
Hey,
want.
Unique
yeah.
like that. Yeah. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Holdovers
You guys
is
are wrong.
a great film.
Yeah.
Honestly, and the writing is terrific. Paul Giamatti's character is so well written in that film. Yeah, I think Holdovers is also a good one to go for, but I think it's Anatomy of a Fall. So we have 2 for Anatomy of a Fall and Holdovers. So let's move on to a Best Adapted Screenplay then, where we have American Fiction, Barbie, Poor Things, Oppenheimer, and The Zone of Interest. I think this is an interesting category.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't even know who I'd say the race is between. I think Oppenheimer's the favorite,
Yes.
but I think it'd be remiss of us not to say that the others have a chance. Like
They do.
Barbie, maybe.
I would actually love to see a Barbie turnaround here.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be disappointed.
Given that Greta Gerwig didn't get a
Given
director
that she
nom.
didn't get a director nomination, like I know a lot of people are really happy with it. I know a lot of people will be annoyed by it.
Yeah.
But like I personally like. I would feel happy. I'd feel happy if they won.
So you're going with Barbie then?
No.
Yeah.
I will.
No,
I'll go with Barbie. I'm backing Barbie.
He's fucking Barbie. I respect that. I'm
Let's go.
going with a safe bet that is Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Barbenheimer.
Barbenheimer. Can I go both? No.
No.
Oppenheimer's my
So you
take.
think Oppenheimer? I mean, I've recently watched American Fiction. I thought it was really well written, but I don't think it's really in the major running. Well deserved nomination. I think American Fiction deserved the nomination, but yeah, I think it's Oppenheimer for me as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going Oppenheimer too, by the way.
You are.
I was joking.
Quick switch.
But I think
Actually, you know what? Because you guys are both doing... If we just all go Oppenheimer as well.
Yeah, but we've already taken different picks on other things.
Yeah.
It's up to you. Just go with your gut.
With my gut,
yeah. What do you genuinely think?
Oppenheimer.
Okay, well let's go to best original score.
We might
I funnily...
This is a close one. No, it's not. This one is. I'll read out nominations, but it's
Ludwig.
American Fiction, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. Yeah. I think this one is for Ludwig Göransson, who has created
Ludwig.
Ludwig Göransson, sorry, who has created what some people are calling one of the best scores ever made. I think it's terrific. Can you hear the music, Toby?
Well, funny you say that, because I watched a really interesting YouTube video. There's a YouTube video that came out
I know.
about that song, Can You Hear the Music, and how he made it, and how he would sit with Nolan, yes, that's the one. Chris Nolan. And,
That's the one.
that's the one.
That guy.
That guy.
There's another famous Nolan.
And sort of like, you get to see how he made it. And it's just amazing. He built it up from what was originally meant to be strings. Then he just decided to put on this sort of, you know, that like synthy sort of.
Yeah, that.
That
Yeah.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, and he showed that to Nolan.
Let's go together, you two. I'm gonna compose this. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
No.
Wow. That was fantastic.
Anyway,
I feel like we're transporting people back to that scene.
Back to the scene. Yeah, he played that for Nolan, and then Nolan said, "We want more of that," and then he went ahead and sort of just made that.
Yeah.
I think that track.
Yeah.
That's still. I still listen to it.
I listen to it. I listen to the
it a lot.
Oppenheimer soundtrack all the
I
time.
do hear the music.
Do you hear it?
I
Yeah.
hear the music. Yeah. I think, is that a universal pick for
Yeah.
Oppenheimer for that one then?
Again.
And I think to those who did hear the music, Ludwig Göransson is going to be their vote. So, woo! Yeah, but
But we can't-
so is it?
I can't dance the night away because it didn't get.
Oh,
No, that's-
he's
you
moving
jumped a
ahead.
bit forward,
He's jumped
yeah.
ahead,
Best
but
original
I know, but
song.
best
like-
original song.
For the, yeah. Anyway.
I love the segue though. I love the segue.
No, that's good, that's good.
So for best original song, we have "What Was I Made For" by Billie Eilish and Phineas O'Connell. We have "I'm Just Ken," Mark Ronson and Andrew Wyatt. "The Fire Inside" by Diane Warren. "It Never Went Away" by John Batiste and Dan Wilson for American Symphony. And
You have a go at this one. Go on, you got it.
was a song for my
Where's
people.
the other W's?
Oh yeah, I don't know, but
Was.
it's a song for my people by Scott George for Killers of the Flower Moon. Yeah, so I think for me, what was I made for?
I know what's in
Barbie?
my heart though.
Go on.
The one that I want to win.
What-
I'm actually gonna go with I'm Just Ken.
That's what I want. I don't think.
Really?
Well, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean.
Can I be honest?
song-
I want I Just Can as
Yeah,
well.
that's what I'm saying.
I actually don't. I would prefer
Really?
What Was I Made For to win.
Yeah, that.
I
that
think
is
it's a
my
better
pick.
song. It's a better song.
It is a better song.
I think I'm
but
Just Ken's brilliant. I think it's
I reckon-
great.
I'm Just Ken's got a chance, and I think it might just slip through.
Shall we, boys?
We'll get copyright strikes.
Yeah.
3,
Will we?
2, 1.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, we will.
Sound great.
But Toby, what was I made for? No, I can't do it either. I'm sorry.
What are you trying?
What was I made for?
Yeah.
It's a good song.
It's a great song.
Definitely
It's a
gets me in
great
my
song.
feels.
Oh, look, I genuinely think that, and I hope that What Was I Made For wins over I'm Just Ken.
Really? Okay. Yeah.
But I think somehow they'll pull it off just for the jokes that
No.
Undertaker will win.
Isn't
Nah,
he a performer? No,
it's-
he's not. He's performing.
He's performing.
Oh, we're gonna get to that. He's got some big plans. So are we all agreeing what was I made for?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go with
Yeah. I mean, we'd love to see I'm Just Ken, but I think it is Billie Eilish.
Different.
No, we got a lot of
It is
we got a
definitely
yeah.
Billie Eilish's and Phineas.
I'm gonna have a
They
massive-
won the what's it, the Golden Globe, didn't they?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
did. Yeah. So now we're moving to one. I think.
You know the video of what's his name? How can I forget his name right now? Ken. What's his name?
Ryan
Ryan
Gosling.
Gosling.
That-
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
With the award.
He's like,
just
Yeah, he's
lost.
like so confused. Yeah.
That's a great.
I love that.
I love him.
We're going to one I think TK's pretty interested in, pretty excited about, but best animated feature. So the nominees are The Boy and the Heron, Elemental, Nimona, Robot Dreams, and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I think this is a real race. I think we're lying if we say this
I
isn't
mean, yeah.
this isn't clear. I think I've seen the internet go in wildly different directions. Toby?
I'm going with The Boy and the Heron, and I know what you're saying about the internet going in wildly different directions. We're on Western Instagram
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
totally.
I think a lot of the people who are talking about Spider-Man absolutely deserves to win, they haven't seen
Yeah.
The Boy and the Heron. Like,
Yeah.
They haven't
But
gone
I
and
mean,
seen-
even the Oscar voters, though. I mean, the
I don't
boy
care about them.
being Miyazaki's last film, isn't it?
The Boy and the Heron deserves to win. It's a better film than
Right.
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. And Miyazaki deserves the win so much. He has been snubbed so many times before. If they don't give it to him here, there will be riots.
Well, I'm going with Spider-Man.
There will be
Yeah.
riots.
Let's go.
Riot.
Whoa. Settle down, you two. Settle down.
I don't know. I just think,
Do you think it's a better film? You've seen both of them.
yeah.
Really?
I think The Boy and the Heron is not his best work.
No, it's not his
That's-
best work, but
that's-
it's a better film.
I think
Yeah.
I think it is a good film. I don't know. It's tough because I watched it. When I watched it, I was
Yeah.
like,
What's your
that's-
favorite Studio Ghibli film then?
either Howl's Moving Castle or why I gone blank.
Spirited Away.
Yeah, Spirited Away.
No,
Obviously.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. Take.
I think
I
Spirited
think
Away is
I
brilliant.
think both of those are my favorites.
Yeah.
This one, I was left sort of a bit confused. Not confused, but like it felt like it just sort of hit a point where I didn't know what was going on, and maybe that's just
There's
me.
also like a really funny chance that he comes back out of retirement because like he's done it before. I feel like he's announced his retirement. Before,
Yeah.
and then he's come back out.
Potentially.
So like,
Yeah.
there's a chance.
I
I
think-
think he'll win it though.
Given that Into the Spider-Verse won it for its year, I'm still going to say it's going to go to The Boy and the Heron, but that is based off how well it's done in the other award shows against
Okay, yeah.
Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
But I think it's one of those things, Across the Spider-Verse is a great film. Love
Yeah.
it. I think it's a masterpiece of a film. But I think it's one of those things as well where I've kind of given my thoughts on how it ends and stuff like that before. I think it'll be the third film will be the one that could do it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Where I
well-
think it's one of those things where it feels too much like an
Yeah,
incomplete
abrupt
film.
ending, yeah.
Whereas I
Spider-Man
feel like The
fans
Boy and the
are
Heron's a bit more
crazy,
complete.
bro.
Well, my
But they're
thing
not the
is-
voters.
I
No,
know,
but my
but-
thing is right. What are the considerations for best animated features? Just like they consider animation style and stuff like that.
Well,
or-
it's the same as Best Picture. It's
Just
the one
whatever.
they say is the best all-round film.
So I would say that the Spider-Man Across Spider-Verse is a larger animated feat than
Yes.
The Boy and the Heron. I think The Boy and the Heron
Don't
has
agree with you.
that
Mm.
amazing, distinct Studio Ghibli art style.
Yeah.
It has that, but so does every other Studio Ghibli movie.
Yeah.
So does other Spider-Verse.
Yeah, but there's only been.
Case in point.
No, but Across the Spider-Verse is
It was
a
a
feat.
large feat.
It
Like,
is.
Yeah, I just think that for me that is the choice.
Yeah.
I think.
No, that's totally fair.
I
So
respect it, but I don't agree with it.
So no, but it's
Fair
interesting. So
enough.
we've got 2 for The Boy and the Heron, and we have 1 for Across the Spider-Verse. And can I be honest? I've kind of written it down. Vanity Fair predicted Across the Spider-Verse as well.
Mm.
It is kind of
It's a
lot
race,
of
yeah.
a lot of big journalists and prediction people across the world think it could go Spider-Verse's way. But I think The Boy and the Heron, given the success it's had in the other awards
Yeah.
shows.
Okay. I definitely need to rewatch it.
Let's talk about best international features. So we have Io Capitano, Perfect Days, Society of the Snow, The Teacher's Lounge, and The Zone of Interest. I think some of the big ones to note would be Perfect Days, Society of the Snow, and The Zone of Interest. I've seen Society of the Snow and The Zone of Interest. Society of the Snow is a brilliant film. It's on Netflix for anyone who hasn't seen it. Spanish film. Made by a big director. He was the guy who did Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, but he's made sort of more low-budget indie films as well. But Society of the Snow is really brilliant. But I think The Zone of Interest is the one that's got it. It's also been nominated for Best Picture, I believe, as well. But I don't think it's going to win Best Picture. So I think it's going to win Best International Feature.
Yeah, I hate to jump on your coattail, but I agree. I think it's going to The Zone of Interest here.
Yeah. I think it's that one.
I haven't seen any of them. So I'm going to pick Society of the Snow.
Go for it. It's a really great film, but I think it is The Zone of Interest. So let's talk about some of the big categories now, the ones that are making the headlines. Obviously, the other ones are as well, but these are the big ones now. We have Best Supporting Actor. We have Sterling K. Brown for American Fiction, Robert De Niro for Killers of the Flower Moon, Robert Downey Jr. for Oppenheimer, Ryan Gosling for Barbie, and Mark Ruffalo for Poor Things.
Yes.
This one's been a lock for a while now. Spoiler, but Robert Downey Jr. has been the one who has been talked about and has won in many, many other award shows.
Yeah.
I think this one is a lock for Robert Downey Jr. for Oppenheimer. His performance is phenomenal, and I think he's got the story behind him as well. He's got that narrative of coming from years within the MCU to give a Oscar-worthy performance in Oppenheimer.
Yeah. I think, once again, I'm having to agree with you here. This one's gone RDJ. Not to say that any of the other performances weren't as impressive. I just think that his performance in Oppenheimer was obviously brilliant and very convincing.
Yeah, this is one category where I've seen all of them. I think all absolutely deserving. I mean, if I wanted anyone else, it'd probably be Ryan Gosling. But I think Robert De Niro as well is one of those nominations that you'd expect because of his prowess as an actor. But I think he genuinely would be deserving if he wanted as well. But I think it's one of those where we just expect him to be so good that he doesn't stand out in the narrative because everyone goes, he is good. Of course he's good at it. It's Robert De Niro. He's great.
Yeah.
But I think Robert Downey Jr. has that narrative of coming from the MCU and delivering a performance no one quite expected. Recently. But I think, obviously, it could go to any of them. Ryan Gosling kind of surprised us all with how funny and great he was in Barbie.
Yeah.
And Mark Ruffalo also had some really great moments in Poor Things.
He was good, but I don't know.
It wasn't like...
It's not.
It was one of his better performances, I reckon.
Yeah. It was good.
So we all saying Oppenheimer?
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr.?
I think so, yeah.
So let's move to Best Supporting Actress then. We have Emily Blunt for Oppenheimer, Danielle Brooks for The Color Purple, America Ferrera for Barbie, Jodie Foster for Nyad, and Divine Joy Randolph for The Holdovers.
I'm going with The Holdovers, I think.
Yes, I would completely agree.
I think she's done very well in some of the earlier award ceremonies, and I think that's something that will extend to this year. I would love to see Emily Blunt win for Oppenheimer. I don't think she will. Her performance was really good in Oppenheimer. I don't see her winning.
Is she in it enough?
She's pretty significant.
She is. Yeah.
I mean, as someone who's seen The Holdovers and is a massive fan of it, I'd be so disappointed if it didn't go to Divine Joy Randolph. Okay. Her performance was so good. Sure. It was emotionally so powerful. She absolutely made an impact in that film. I think she's fantastic. And she's just great. I agree with you. I think Emily Blunt would be the person I'd say would be the second in line.
America Ferrera get an award for Army?
She won. It wasn't like an official award. It was a more of a career award.
Oh, okay.
She's had some really incredible performances and roles in the past. I think that's kind of the surprising one for me, America Ferrera and Barbie. Not saying it's undeserved, but I don't think she has necessarily a chance of winning,
I would be very
given
surprised.
the impact that Emily Blunt and Divine Joy Randolph had within their respective films. But Jodie Foster was a major part of Nyad and had a major role in that, and I think she's great. But I think it's Divine Joy Randolph. She's won all the others.
Yeah, that's what I'm going
for. So you
holdovers
as well.
Yeah, agreement.
So let's go to Best Actor now.
This one's a tough one.
It is.
So we've got Bradley Cooper for Maestro, Coleman Domingo for Rustin, Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers, Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer, and Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very disappointing to not see Ryan Gosling here. Unbelievable. He would have been my top pick. I think this one's Cillian Murphy, right? He deserves the Oscar. He hasn't won one yet.
No.
Is his first nomination as well?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to see him win it.
Yeah.
What cheerleader over in the corner here? Go,
Yeah.
Killian.
Go Killian.
C-I-L.
I think it is Paul Giamatti is understated in his chance for getting this.
Sure.
I think he is absolutely second. I think Paul Giamatti's performance on The Holdovers is absolutely Oscar worthy.
So you're going to take Paul Giamatti?
No, I'm saying Cillian Murphy, but if I'm being totally honest, I think I love the narrative that Paul Giamatti would get it because I want more people to go see The Holdovers, and because it kind of came out.
He deserves over Cillian Murphy though.
No. But I'm saying it's the one that I would not be disappointed, and I would just stand up and cheer like I would for Cillian Murphy getting it too. They're the two I think absolutely deserve it. The others are great. I think Bradley Cooper would be the one behind that. I think, don't get me wrong, I understand the narrative. People are saying, sort of that he's trying too hard to get an Oscar, but I do think that his performance in Maestro was terrific. He became Leonard Bernstein, and I think, I do think that he does deserve to be there. I'll put it that way.
Yep.
Absolutely.
What do you think, TK? What are you going to hear?
Yeah.
Oppenheimer.
I
So I think,
for me,
I think this one's
I think it's
Oppenheimer.
yeah.
Well, we'll go into Best Actress here. 'Cause
I
think
just have
this is one that we. What do you want to say?
Sorry, just I had sort of a thing to note with Cillian Murphy. So if Cillian Murphy and Oppenheimer both win, it'd be the first time both categories have been won for the same film since 2012. So it'd be the first time since 2012 that both Best Actor and Best Picture went to the same film.
What did it in 2012?
That I don't know. I should look at it.
I can have a look.
But I just thought it was worth noting that this isn't the case with Best Actress and Best Picture, but just because obviously you had Michelle Yeoh and Everything Everywhere All at Once. But Best Actor and Best Picture, it'd be the first
Artist?
time. 12. Yes, it's The Artist. That's the one.
No, fair enough.
Yeah.
We'll move on to Best Actress next because I think this is one that we might actually disagree on.
Yeah.
Here.
I think this is a real race.
So there's Annette Bening
Yep.
for Naiad, Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon, Sandra Huller for Anatomy of a Fall, Carrie Mulligan for Maestro, and Emma Stone for Poor Things.
Yeah.
You've got Lily Gladstone for your top pick.
For her recent win. Yeah. I think
okay.
that changed the domination that Emma Stone had in this running.
Sure.
I think Emma Stone's deserving for Poor Things. I think this is the closest race we have in this Oscars. I think this is the one where no one can possibly say this guarantee.
Yeah, I'm going with Emma Stone on this one. I'm going opposite to you. I think she has got it. She's won most of the award shows thus far. I know Lily Gladstone got the last one.
Yeah.
But I just think Poor Things was probably a better received film than Killers of the Flower Moon. At least for her performance.
Her performance was probably more... they're very different performances.
I know they're very different performances. I understand that.
Yeah.
I just think that when people are talking about Poor Things, like, wow, Emma Stone was brilliant.
Yes.
When people are talking about Killers of the Flower Moon, like, oh, that was a really great film.
Lily Gladstone's getting a lot
she's
of recognition.
I'm not trying to say that she's not. I think Emma Stone has it here.
Yeah. No, and that's totally fair. I'd say it would be deserved. But I think Lily Gladstone's performance is really nuanced. It's powerful. And I think that the Oscar voters really appreciate that kind of nuanced acting, the really dramatic role. But don't get me wrong, Emma Stone's performance, she had a really difficult job and she made it believable. She made it interesting to watch.
Well, I think I'll go with Emma Stone as well. I think she kind of showed a different side of her acting. I think she's never, from what I've seen of her in other movies, it was a different role.
Yeah.
It was more, I guess you could say difficult and not strange, but like, stylized role, and she definitely did it well.
Yeah.
She definitely did it. She
Yeah.
really sold the character.
Well, I think the last two that we're going into here are maybe a little bit more the same take. We've got Best Director, so Jonathan Glazer for The Zone of Interest, Yorgos, oh my god, the last name. Lanthimos for Poor Things, Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer, Martin Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon, and Justin Trent for Anatomy of a Fall.
Justine Triet.
Is that not what I said?
Justine.
Right, it's so late. Don't blame me for my vision.
It's Justine Triet, yeah.
I think the predicted winner that all of us are going to have, Oppenheimer.
It's Oppenheimer. Christopher Nolan deserves this.
Chrissy.
He's had a wonderful career that hasn't necessarily been projected within the Oscars. And I think this is the film that perfectly blends his very unique filmmaking with a film that the Oscars love and appreciate. And so I think this is Oppenheimer's.
And then for
Definitely.
Best
Nolan.
Picture, we've got American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest.
Some great films
Yeah,
on
great
that
films.
list. Wow.
Once again, I'm thinking Oppenheimer for this.
This is an Oppenheimer win.
Yep.
Yeah. This is an Oppenheimer win. I'd say the only other one that has a real kind of shot next to Oppenheimer would be Anatomy of a Fall.
Sure.
But I think this is Oppenheimer's, what the cast and crew did. They delivered the best film of 2023, and
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement with
we're
that.
all in agreement. I think it's also worth noting, I'm really glad to see Past Lives there as well. Again, one of those films that A24 released that, especially over in Australia, not a lot of people went to see, but definitely check that one out if you haven't seen it, because what Celine Song did with that film is great. So definitely check that one out as well.
Yeah.
That is our predictions for the Oscars. So we've noted it all down, and we will see next week in the podcast. We will talk about who predicted everything the best. We also have just a few things to note that people have been talking a lot about the Iron Claw snub, and that A24 invested in Poor Things and The Zone of Interest over something like the Iron Claw. But I think a lot of us, especially Toby and I, would have given a lot of these nomination and wins to Iron Claw if it had the chance.
Perhaps.
Yeah, I think it was really great. For those of you who are sort of interested about the ceremony, we have Ryan Gosling performing I'm Just Ken at the Oscars with 65 dancers.
Well, that's
DK's one of them.
Yeah, I'm actually the background.
Oh,
dancer.
you're Ken.
I'm one of the Kens.
He's the 63rd.
Yeah.
You'll see me.
It will be
left.
one of the biggest performances ever at the ceremony. So yeah,
I'll be
shows
there.
you that I'm Just Ken has really made a ripple.
I'm
in the world.
I'm proud of you, man.
Thank you.
I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. Excellent dance moves.
I'm
excited for that though.
Yeah, I am too. I am too. It'll be really fun to watch. The Oscars is going to be hosted by Jimmy Kimmel.
Yep.
So he's done it multiple times. As far as I'm aware, he's done a pretty good job every time. I've only seen sort of a few of the ones that he's done, but he's done a pretty good job. Just a few sort of fun facts, but if Emma Stone, if she won, she could become the 8th actress to win 2 Oscars by the age of 35, having previously won for La La Land in 2017.
She's very impressive.
She's very talented, yeah.
There was also the fact that there's been a lot of controversy with Barbie not being nominated for Best Director and Best Actress with Margot Robbie.
Yeah, I wonder if that affects the ceremony at all in terms of any of their nominations.
Well, the thing is, they're both still nominated as producers. So if it won Best Picture, they're both still there.
But I mean,
Do you know what I mean? And
because
screenplay
they
as well.
they didn't get obviously the director and actress.
Yep.
The other do you reckon that influences the other categories? I wonder.
I think Barbie will come home with something.
It has to come in with something.
Yeah.
That's what I think I'm trying to get
And
at.
but I think it's good that both Margot and Greta are at least sort of being praised as producers of the film in its Best Picture nomination. I think that's a great result for them as well.
Yeah.
Even just the nomination is terrific. Sort of some facts about Bradley Cooper. He was nominated 12 times at the Oscars, but he's never won.
Wow.
And unfortunately, I don't think Maestro is necessarily going to do it for him. But I think it's a terrific
Hangover?
film anyway.
Hangover 1, 2, or
Hangover
3.
1?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But he had films like
I love
American
that.
Sniper and things like that as
Yeah.
well.
I suppose.
Yeah,
12
so
nominations is
that's unfortunate for Bradley, but I think he's got one coming his way. He's surely got some major projects in the works. He had A Star Is Born, was really well received as well when that came out. And some other information we have is that Martin Scorsese is the oldest ever nominee for Best Director.
Oh, wow.
So that's good. It's good to know. Lily Gladstone is the first ever Native American to be nominated for Best Actress.
Yeah. No, it would be a massive win.
It would be a huge win.
For her if she did
And,
that.
and just so deserving. Her performance in that is fantastic.
Yeah.
And I think we just had to kind of add on to the end that Robbie Robertson, who composed the soundtrack for Killers of the Flower Moon, he tragically died, and he is being posthumously nominated for Best Original Score.
Yeah. No,
So don't get me wrong, I think the score in Killers of the Flower Moon is terrific. It is going to go to Oppenheimer, but I'm glad to see his name there.
Yeah.
And that he's being sort of recognized for his incredible music.
Yep.
Cool.
Those are our thoughts on the Oscars. We're excited to see how it plays out. Thank you so much for listening to our predictions. We can't wait to sort of see who has to watch one of the films that we
Simpsons.
are. Simpsons
Yeah.
or Goodbye, Dragon Inn.
Do you remember what mine was called?
No.
Just give it a go.
Something. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, it was called something. He's
No,
close.
I genuinely can't think of it.
Neo.
Evangelion or something?
Yeah, you got one word right. Yeah.
Oh, which one?
Well, there's the series, which is Neo Genesis Evangelion.
Neo Genesis. That's
And then
That's
there's
the one. He had it on the
I had it in the
And
tip
then
once.
there's the end of Evangelion, which is the movie.
The end of Evangelion. But yeah, so, and we'll obviously tell you when we've done those challenges and our thoughts on them. But thank you so much for listening. We'll be talking about Denis Villeneuve and his films next week, and also let you know who has won the Oscar predictions.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you to TK for being
thanks for
our
having me,
guest
guys.
host
Again,
as well.
yes.
Thank you so much, TK, for being on our show this week.
Yeah,
Woo.
I appreciate it.
We
It's
appreciate
been
it, and
great.
we'd love to have you on again.
Yeah, maybe one day. First guest.
Thank you so much. And we are obviously very excited for June Part 3 if it happens. And
Wrong podcast. That
yeah.
was the one before.
yeah, but still,
We're excited about
it's a
the
June
Oscars.
week. It's a June week.
We're
Yeah.
excited about the Oscars.
Oscars.
We are excited about
Thank
the
you.
Oscars.
I'm
Thank
just
you.
kidding.
Goodbye. Thank you very much.